on the internet.
We are.
How are you?
For our 11th episode somehow.
It just keeps on coming. Yeah, it's been a crazy week, and we're sort of like, it's funny. This is sort of like the opposite energy level that I'd expect in a penultimate, because usually penultimate you're like racing to the end. You're like, oh, gotta go, and this week we booked two of the people that out of everyone that we've had that we actually have probably the closest personal relationships with, as far as like we've known Abbie.
We just offended all of our other friends, I think.
Yeah, well, that's what I do. I'm only kind when they're on this.
Well, yeah.
Oh, God help us. But yeah, so I'm really excited. But like normally I'm really antsy, and now I'm looking forward to hanging out with friends. So I'm kind of excited about that.
Yeah, it'll be fun. We've gone back and forth on in terms of when we were going to have these folks on. So it's going to be a fun conversation tonight.
Yeah, and I'm excited for the conversation. I'm excited to talk a little about some of the stuff we've got coming up. I'm excited about. I'm really excited about sort of putting a nice bow on this season next week with Heather May and Chris Matthews.
Yeah.
We announced that. I thought we announced it last week.
Oh, did we? Oh, we might.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did. Sorry, I said that out loud.
We're still working on our schedule of like when we announce things and when we talk about things, and even do we talk about next week's podcast on this week's podcast? I don't know. So yeah, Heather May and Chris Matthews.
We can. So as far as announcements go, I have a couple. What do you got, buddy?
Announcements. Good Lord. If anybody can tell me how the hell it's September in a week, that would be awesome.
I prefer not to think of it.
Yeah. My wife was telling me today, she's like, I feel like we haven't had a summer. I was like, I don't even know where the hell the last 5.5 months have gone.
You know, as a New Englander, as a lifelong New Englander, I'm used to not being able to remember spring because it's over in a hot second.
Yeah.
But the summer is definitely, this is taking on a whole new kind of process.
Yeah, when you're stuck inside and, just the air conditioning going all the time, there's not a whole lot of, a lot of transition. There's nowhere to go. You can try to go to the beach, but those have been insane. Like, of course, today we decided maybe we'd go out for a walk. And then, it was a monsoon all of a sudden outside. And we kind of went, oh, no walk today.
I went for a 4-mile walk with Lou at 6:30 a.m.
I'm sure the weather was good then.
Oh, it was beautiful. It's beautiful. And everyone you pass, for some reason, there's something joyous about walking at 6:30. A, because I live in a place where you don't really run into that many people anyway. But B, running into someone at 6:30 in the morning is like people see you, and it's more shock. It's like,
oh, there's somebody else.
So it's sort of a fun day. So I have some announcements. This was actually a crazy, crazy good week for us. And we've been talking about wanting to get to 100 subscribers on YouTube so we could get our own URL. Because if you don't have 100 subscribers, your URL is disgusting. It's like UQ576.
Yeah.
And I put out a call to action amongst sort of my personal social media stuff. I think on Tuesday, I think we're at 54.
Yeah.
And I woke up that morning, and my hope was just to maybe get us to like the 70 to 80, sort of like get good, and sort of be poised to finish this season with 100 people. And 100 people later, we're currently sitting at 145 people.
Good Lord.
And we are now youtube.com/c/tribal mischief. We got our URL. I'm super excited about that.
Thank you very, very much for anyone who's listening who has liked our YouTube channel. We appreciate it.
In particular, thanks to people like Christine Dunn Wells, and there are a handful of other folks who literally were sharing my call to action and trying to get their friends. And that's the coolest thing ever. And we appreciate it. So I wanted to talk about that briefly. Along those lines, now that... That was Jake.
That was me.
That was Jake. Yeah. That was Jake. That was not me. I want to be clear. But along those lines, just sort of want to thank people and show off. We are now at a point where if you are watching us on Twitch, you will notice we have our own merch store now, and it's actually starting to fill in with some nice stuff. So I did want to take a second and show that off. We'll do stream. So this is all stuff that's up there, and check
for those of you who have always wanted to wear Ethan on your chest.
So I made this because it's one of our emoticons. Is the me sipping a Mai Tai, and this is only available. You can actually only buy this if you are a Twitch subscriber. It's a barrier to entry, because nothing scares me more than the notion of running into someone wearing this in the outside world. Yeah,
I gotta arrange that. I gotta make that happen.
So we also have some wonderful kids oriented clothes. Using our the Pesky monkey from our Mislaid Hopes, or
Monkey Business and
Mislaid Hopes album. And this was artwork done by Zoya Drew. We've been using for years, and it's always been near and dear to our heart. But yeah, so that stuff's up there. Check it out if you like it. It's a great way of helping to support us, and I'm going to do my best to make sure that anything we put up there is pretty good. Like, I don't want to sell you bad stuff. I'm trying.
I'm sorry. So for those of you who don't know, for those of you who are listening in podcast land or are watching us right now, we have a backstage area. And so our guests for this evening are backstage right now, and we can see them, but you cannot. And so they're goofing around backstage, as our guests are wont to do. And so that was the throwing them up there earlier, was they thought they were backstage, but we have the power to throw them on stage really at any moment. So
that is the fun of it. So outside of that, we announced next week is our final episode of the first season. We're gonna take like a month, maybe a couple, 5 or 6 weeks maybe off as we schedule out and get ready for season 2, but we're not leaving you high and dry. We're going to be doing a number of little things during that time period. Jake, stop looking at the guests. Clearly you've got your attention.
Oh, jeez. Well, you've got all the announcements. I've got nothing to do. I'm just...
You could have made an announcement. I don't know.
No. I'm letting you have them. I'm just killing time laughing at our guests.
Oh, good.
Sorry, go ahead. Please.
So as far as the things that we'll be doing during the break, we haven't come up with a date yet, but we're definitely going to be doing at least one show. It'll be a tri-bill. We know we've got Jake Blunt. We're going to reach out to some of the other wonderful people who've been on the podcast and are just sort of friends of the podcast, and try to get another sort of high quality 3-person show probably for mid-September. I will be releasing the long overdue coronavirus sort of conversational that I had with a number of wonderful artists: Ellis Ball, Rachel Kilgore, Connor Garvey, Benjamin Dakota Rogers, Saffron, Willem Ahmed. They're all donated, anywhere from a half hour of their time to I think Rachel Kilgore and I planned on having a half-hour conversation, and 2 hours later we're like, we should probably stop. And I was sitting there being like, I've got to come through 2-hour conversation to find it. But it was a spectacular conversation. I loved having it with her. So I'm excited to finish that up in the next month. And we're gonna put a challenge out there. We're currently at I think 24 subscribers on Twitch. Oh, sorry, I'm talking so fast I'm yawning. If we hit 30 subscribers by the end of the season next week, I will record the entire Isoya story that we have been referencing time and time again. In these podcasts, I will record the entirety of it, and I will get some videos from the island where it took place and have it all in the background, and that will be a members only thing. So just our way of saying thank you. We really appreciate you sticking with us and being part of this. Outside of that, the only other announcement I had is tomorrow, for the usual schedule, the Jake Blunt podcast will go live on YouTube. The Vance Gilbert one, which is long overdue, will also be going live. There were just some technical issues that I had to work out, audio and video sync, and it's finally. I don't want to say it's perfect, but I've spent enough hours that it is what it is.
It's going to get.
And it was just a fun conversation, so we want to make sure that that's up there for people.
Yep, the audio podcasts. I think we owe you Jake Blunt's podcast, and for season 2, we're going to settle into more of a schedule on these. Again, barring any technical difficulties, but we've talked a lot about schedules. I know that I have not been good about my end of it, but we'll firm those things up for season 2. We're going to take a break of 4, 5, 6 weeks, something like that, after this season, and then we'll start back up, and we'll have the schedule for everybody.
Yeah, we are excited. We already have about 5 or 6 guests lined up. We're just finalizing dates. I'm really excited. There are folks that are doing really wonderful things in the realm of community. And I think one of the goals for me as we get into next season is specifically looking to people outside of our little bubble in the folk world. I want to see what people are doing to really build community in the outside world, because I think we all need to learn from each other and to just, you want to avoid sort of the incestuous little, well, I know him, but everyone knows him. We'll all use that person.
Right.
Or, well, she does it and everyone uses her for this. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Other than that, I'm good. Any life announcements, any updates you want to share with people? Or?
Well, this was the last couple of weeks have been a bit of a challenge. On Wednesday of this week, I got my negative test for COVID after 10 or 11 days or 12 days of isolation, after a positive test for COVID. So dealt with that for about a week and a half. Actually, last week on the podcast, I was at home in isolation. My wife was away elsewhere. Our dogs had been sent away. The children were sent away. Luckily, everyone else has tested negative throughout. And my wife just came home about 3 days ago, and so I even hesitated to talk about it certainly last week, but I had a very mild case of it. The sort of the emotional baggage of it was insane, given everything everyone's been going through. But I was very, very lucky. I literally dodged a bullet, had very, very mild symptoms, and came out the other side. So it's been it's been a week. It's been a couple of weeks, but glad to be back and healthy. It was actually 2 weeks ago today that I got diagnosed. The day that we were off, we had not even scrapped that evening's podcast because of it, but I was a little bit relieved that I didn't have to come on in the midst of all that. But yeah, I hope everyone out there is happy and healthy and safe in all of this insanity. And without any further ado, Ethan, do you have anything else before we bring our fine guests on?
Just how's the sense of smell?
Still none. I can. This is the weirdest thing. I can't smell the bourbon. I can taste the bourbon, but I can't smell the bourbon. And for the record, this week's choice is Russell's Reserve, single barrel.
I just went with the margarita.
Ooh,
with tequila. I have no idea. It was what I had.
Okay, I think we've kept our guests waiting long enough. We've kept our viewers waiting long enough. We would like to welcome Abbie and Mr. Abbie. They changed their name
who put that in there?
Who could that be?
Craig Aiken and Abbie Gardner, everybody.
Hi, guys.
Which one's which?
Yeah, I wonder who's who.
Ethan does these. I'll tell the folks at home. Ethan does these wonderful overlays. So the Jake here and the Ethan over there, and the Craig and Abbie. Ethan does all that artwork for us. And this week they sat down they jumped in about 15 minutes before we went live, and Ethan looked at the labels and went, crap. He had to run and scurry and fix it up. So hi guys.
Hi. I'm so glad to be talking to you guys and seeing you and knowing, Jake, that you're okay. I didn't know there was all that going on, but I'm really glad that you're...
Yes, congratulations on the negative.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's positive to be negative.
It is positive to be negative. I didn't even want to talk about it because we know so many people. Unfortunately, we've lost people in this community to this virus. And we've known a lot of people, a lot of friends of ours that have been very, very sick. And it was... one of the reasons I didn't talk about it publicly was I felt guilty. I felt bad because I didn't want anybody going, oh, I hope you're okay, when I was just sitting in my office for a week and a half. I lived my life in this 60 square foot home office for like 11 or 12 days.
Wow.
But that was the hardest thing I had. Like, I lost my sense of smell. Big deal. People are on ventilators. But
yeah. Well, don't feel guilty. Just know that people care about you. And
well, I appreciate that.
That's
Thank you.
what they want. Yeah.
How are you guys?
We're good. We're home in Jersey City.
Really pretty dang good.
Yeah. It's been, I mean, of course, there's a lot going on, and we've had a lot of friends struggling, but there's been a lot of good upsides, too, to being home and being together a lot.
A lot.
But
it's good.
And I like the clarification.
All the time. No.
So, like, and I, in fairness, I've asked this to Ellis, to Vance, to Adam, to almost all the artists that I've had on that really were road warrioring it. What is it for you? What was it like? Like, I think there's a misconception that a lot of people have about being a musician on the road, where, you know, some people sort of see it as, oh, well, you go away and you come back, and you go away and you come back. And some of it's that. But for some artists, it's more that you're away and occasionally you get to come back. And that sounds like a weird way of saying it. But like, if you're doing like an Ellis 200 show a year kind of schedule, that's kind of the more reality to some extent.
That is not our reality.
Yes. Well,
right.
We're out and back every week.
Well,
nice.
Sometimes,
for the most part.
Last year I did a 3-week tour, like Texas and California is like more than one state if you do the whole thing. Yes. So, I'm just so used to, right. I don't do 200 dates per year or whatever it is. That I think it's 300. I don't know. He's gone a lot, but I am really. It's funny, since moving to Jersey City in 2009, I have been on the road. You know, I haven't been home for more than a week or so at a time since then. So, so to be home and to know that I'm not going anywhere was a big turnaround, but also something that I think I really needed. And I knew I needed it. I didn't know how to do that on my own. So universe intervening, it was, for me, really, really great in some ways. Because I remember actually talking to Ellis Paul in the beginning of the year, maybe it was December, I'm not sure. and saying, man, I wish I could just take a year off and practice. Just be home, practice, walk my dog, know what it's like to live in my neighborhood.
It's your fault.
It's my fault. Yes. I wished for time.
It's not just her fault though, too, because I've been here 13 years in the New York area, and hustling that whole time, and half of that time has probably been on the road or gone. So I was getting pretty tired, and of the hustle, which is just never ending.
Yeah.
Being a full time like rhythm section bass guy for hire kind of thing. So I was getting pretty tired, and I was thinking, I don't even know if this is sustainable, or what do I got to do to make it long term, And so this allowed me to sort of let the dust settle and just reprioritize things, and try to figure some things out.
So what's that specifically been like? Some of the folks that we've talked to, Bethlehem Roberts being one of the ones that first comes to mind, really sort of describe this entire experience, and I'm going to use my words as essentially its own sort of existential crisis of rediscovering who you are, and having that time to be with yourself, where to your point, Craig, I've watched you at the conventions and at festivals. You managed to play all three stages at most festivals at the same time somehow.
Yeah. It's a lot of running around.
Yeah.
And just networking and hustling and
with an upright bass, then.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing. It's exhausting hauling that thing around like my whole life. So.
There was one gig we had I had a private party in the city that Craig was playing with me at night, and then he got an offer for a gig during like an early gig. What was it, Rockwood or somewhere?
Might have been, yeah.
So he's so good at finagling, doing more than one gig at once. Like the total New York City moment where he's like, I know where to park. We're going to park, set up the sound system for the private gig.
Oh, yeah.
And then I did the first set solo there.
Well, I did the other gig.
Took his skateboard and his electric bass.
Right, to Rockwood,
to the other gig.
Uptown.
Did the gig. Took his skateboard back and his electric bass. Walked in while they were having their entrees.
Yeah,
and
right.
then we did the second set together. And free parking, like this guy, he's like the master. He's figured it out.
I got good parking and driving karma in New York.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, that was smooth.
It takes a Casey boy to figure out New York. It's just like, whoa. So, having all those kind of skills is a different skill set when you're home.
Oh, yeah.
We've had to learn a lot of different. All of a sudden, we're a media company.
Yeah.
We're musicians a little bit.
A little
bit.
A little
bit. Well, it's that old. I mean, that's something that musicians have been saying forever, which is the playing of music. Ironically, tends to be the smallest amount of time that goes into your job for a lot of artists. Travel, scheduling, booking, like all of that stuff. And for a lot of folks, I mean, I'm learning video editing. I'm learning, all this art stuff that you're seeing up here, background. Like they're all skill sets that, in a normal year, I wouldn't have been able to do this. I would have been at Philly last weekend, and I would have been at Falcon Ridge, the 2 weekends before, and maybe the weekend between, I would have slept for 48 hours.
Right.
That's usually how it goes, right? That's the sleep weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like what specific, Abbie, you mentioned sort of taking the time and I just want to practice for a year. Is that part of how you've been approaching this, or like where has the energy that was in the hustling sort of been redirected now? Yeah,
that you pretty much hit the nail on the head. I realized very early on when I came back in March. I came back from my last tour was in New Mexico and Arizona, and I came back in early March. I think it was March 6th or 7th, and things started to shut down and lock down, and I was like, okay, now's my chance. And I really got after it. I started getting up at 6:30 in the morning and practicing for 3 hours.
Wow.
And I love it. Like I had to develop the habit first, but now I'm gradually just figuring out, okay, what can support that? Because some days it's really hard and I'm tired from yesterday or from staying up late on Zoom with other songwriters or whatever it happens to be. I jumped in with teaching a songwriting class too, and just, doing a bunch of things to connect with other people about music, and also just like keep myself sane and financially. When I don't have to worry quite as much about money, then I'm able to do more practicing. So that was a big thing too. But it's really been amazing to carve out that time and just be able to know that I have control over it. It's just me getting up and getting in my little practice room and deciding what to do with that time. So I'm still like a scientist figuring out like what works and what doesn't, and what's actually effective and what's just spinning my wheels.
I don't even see her till lunch.
No. No, creativity. It's the only thing that's been really, really, it's funny, right? Because we're all home, but we're still having trouble, at least me and the people I've talked to, have trouble with like getting the things done that we want to, like prioritizing. It's still hard. There's still so much being thrown at us, even though we're sitting still, that now it's really in my face, like, oh, it's really up to me. Like, I'm the only one who's going to figure this out for me. So, oh, my buddy Leslie's out there watching. Sorry, I couldn't help see that come in.
That's why we put it up there.
I love it. Leslie's been watching every one of our live streams.
Really?
Yeah, we've dedicated some songs to him and everything. He always sends me a little picture of him watching us on the small screen.
That's Leslie.
Yeah. Oh, it's so great.
How's that interaction been for you guys? I know, we did the Falcon Ridge preview tour a few weeks ago, and then we did the lounge stage a couple of weeks ago. And we'd found it very interesting, the sort of interaction between artists that were on the stream, and also, the interaction that's, available. I mean, I don't know why this guy's here, Tom Bianchi. But, like the interaction that you can have between, the folks that are the talent, the artist on screen, like there's no fourth wall here. How are you guys finding that with these performances, but the ability for feedback?
Well, yeah, we were just mentioning that in the kitchen, how this show is a little different than our usual shows because we have you guys on the other end to give us feedback about how it sounds and looks, the video and audio. And normally we don't have that, and at best we might have somebody text us during the show to say the level's way too hot.
Oh, Tracy.
Or one time the bass, the level got bumped or something all the way to the right, all the way up.
Oh, no.
We didn't know that.
Yeah.
And so we started playing the show, and so So, Tracy texted us. Thank God.
Getting multiple texts from Tracy Grammer is like
while we're playing the first
interesting.
And then we try to get honest feedback in the comments, like genuinely ask people to tell us how it sounds or looks, or what we could do better. Last week we asked them how are they listening to this show, meaning like what kind of speakers are they listening through, if at all. And because I want to know, as a bass player, my sound is not going to be heard in computer speakers or iPad speakers or iPhone speakers, and so it's a little frustrating. So I wanted to know, like, how are people listening to this show? And I was really pleasantly happy to learn that a lot of them were using mobile, like Bluetooth speakers, which a lot of them are really good on the market these days.
Oh yeah.
And so I was happy for that. There was a few that said, "Oh, I just have my iPad," and whatnot. And there was a few headphone people too, which really makes me happy. So, and some people mentioned a Bose system or Bose speakers with their TV, and so I was happy about that little interaction.
Craig's really been taking the lead on, since I'm holed up in my room for 3 hours every day, at least. He's been taking the lead on doing all this tech stuff, all of our, our live stream video, figuring that out, the OBS system and the, I mean, if some of the people watching are not they haven't done a live stream, they might not know, but there's all these wires and we've tried so many different things, and sometimes it just blows up right before, and we have to switch gears all of a sudden.
Oh yeah, dropped connections right before downbeat.
Yeah.
Like dropped Wi-Fi connections, or the OBS freezes because I have a faulty cable from my phone to the computer, which I didn't realize was.
Yeah.
I didn't figure that one out for many weeks. It's just a stupid cheap cable that I found somewhere or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's been lots of, troubleshooting.
At a power outage in the middle of the podcast last week, all of a sudden everything goes dark and it blips back on. Ethan's like, "You went dark." I was like, "Yeah, I lost power. Like, I think my computer's on a battery backup, and so that was fine. So I think I was still connected, but everything else went black, so I couldn't see anything. I couldn't control anything, and I just had to sit here and wait until everything came back.
It's like new nightmares, I
know.
I had a dream.
I just thought he went emo.
Oh, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, so
that's it. I'm leaving. Just going off there.
Hey, how did we do that?
That's amazing.
Oh my god!
I had a dream the other night that YouTube
for you guys,
was
we just make you.
No.
The names are screwed up though.
Can Ethan? That's funny. Oh my gosh.
Well, but I'm legitimately interested in sort of that experience of. Not just figuring out the technical stuff, which Craig, I've been watching you participate in a lot of different groups trying to figure out stuff, Facebook groups and various other things as you've been troubleshooting, getting stuff set up. But there's also sort of just the X factor of technology is technology. And then there's the Y factor of this platform will do X or this platform will do, Z.
Look at Ethan getting all Canadian on us.
Getting working with Genevieve as she's tried to do some of these things. One of the, I've always had a mixed emotional attachment to Facebook, but she had a show that she spent 3 weeks hyping. She had the entire thing cut off 2 minutes into it on a copyright claim for her own song that she was playing.
Oh.
And therefore, the hundreds of people that she got that link in front of and that were going somewhere, that was gone.
Right.
We
didn't exist anymore.
And we got that claim ourselves. That we weren't cut off, but we got a claim against us for using Anna Lee, which is a Pesky J. Nixon song. And
there's some
Ethan wrote it.
complications.
It's his property, and we got dinged with a complaint, and we shot back, and I was like, we own it, and the person who wrote it was on the stream. I'm pretty sure we're good. And then I got a notice back saying this claim has been rescinded.
Right.
Oh,
I just got a claim last week. I played one of my songs. I guess I did a good job because it sounded like the recording, which they think is owned by someone named CD Baby.
Oh, for God's sake!
Who is, if you guys don't know out there listening, CD Baby is a great company that distributes music. It gets your music into iTunes and all sorts of different places. And they used to even send physical CDs. They don't do that anymore. But there's just some legal stuff. They just have not figured that out yet. No. I had to explain to YouTube, like that's me. Me with my publishing company and my everything.
We had Karina Smith, and didn't we get dinged for Karina playing? She was playing a Bach piece.
She played a Bach piece and got a copyright claim on a Bach. And I'm just sitting there in my head. I'm like, is that like a 600-year-old copyright? Like what?
Isn't it public domain by now?
Yeah. I think their belief was that we were playing a record. This is, I guess, how good she was. That it sounded like some professional symphonic recording, and it was her on her fiddle.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear Bach is going to start doing some live streams for tips, Tom. He bought a whole bunch of gear.
Tom's got a great comment here
I
to add to
love
the
that.
conversation.
Yeah, spending big money on internet gear to play for tips.
Yep.
It's it's
Well,
weird.
and I think that the gear thing is particularly interesting to me because there's definitely I feel like there's this willful desire that a lot of musicians that I run into have, whereas, oh, do you hear about this new thing? It's great. You just hit one button, everything works. It's great. And I'm like, have you tried it? No, but I saw a video. It's like,
yeah.
And like Jake and I have talked about the first 2 months, both of us as IT professionals, getting call after call after call from friends who are musicians being like, all right, so we want to do a show with someone else in a different place. So what do we do for that? And we're like, you don't, or you send a pre-recorded thing and then they record something and then you do that. And the absolute surety that people argued with us, like, no, it must be possible. It's like,
it has to be possible.
No, it's not. I mean, there are neat little tricks that you can do, and a lot of, I think part of it is you see network TVs do all these live events, and you can very clearly watch it and realize they're not live. So, they've recently clarified where it's a live broadcast, meaning the broadcast part of it's live, but the content is, like all these things. But I'm appreciative of watching people like you guys. I think Stu Berg, who's in here, was mentioning Adam Ezra. People just really working through pretty straightforward setups, building upon the straightforward setups, and sort of getting to their own level of comfort and finding a way to make it work for them, as opposed to the people that are constantly trying to find that silver bullet. Because, man, everyone that I've been sent, when I look into it, it's pretty clearly, in our world, we call it vaporware. It's stuff that like you hear about, but it doesn't really exist.
Yeah.
What have you guys been doing with your groups? I mean, Craig plays with, well, everybody, and Abbie, obviously, in Red Molly. Like, what are you guys doing collaboratively right now?
Yeah, you're doing a whole bunch. I mean, I can answer quickly because he's got a more intense answer. But my Red Molly, we just kind of postponed everything.
Oh, you did?
And also,
there was that one Zoom hang though.
we had a one like song
cool.
trade, like in the round kind of thing for Red Molly, which was fun. We did that, and then we also this was kind of an accidental sort of collaboration. We're in touch a lot, the three of us, because we're pretty close. But we each recorded a version of Tom Prasada Rao's $20 Bill song, and we put that up. And it wasn't really a collaboration, but it was just like, we all were inspired to do it differently. So that was really, I don't know, kind of a bonding moment for us.
You did an a cappella video, didn't you?
We did one a cappella video.
So what is a cappella?
Oh, if you don't know, acapella is an app that is more for like the layperson to sing with yourself. It's really geared towards people singing with themselves or with their friends. It's not so great for lining up instruments. Like if you're trying to play with other people, it can be really tricky. I've tried that too, and it's hard. But we did a version of my Copper Ponies song, and that was pretty fun. But you have been really into that. I'm excited. I'm more excited about what Craig's doing collaboratively.
Yeah, I'm on that bandwagon of with a lot of people just making collaborative videos, like she was just saying. So I've been using what have I been using? I've been learning the video software called DaVinci Resolve. It's pretty tough. It's got a pretty steep learning curve, but I'm working with it because I'm making trio videos with one musician from the New York jazz scene and one musician from the Kansas City jazz scene, and I'm sort of the ringleader, bringing all that together. and I just pick an easy jazz standard that everybody knows. And so there's no rehearsing or anything like that. I'll come up with an arrangement and I'll type it out. And, I think through it, something that we can all pull off from our homes remotely, and something that's not going to be reinventing the wheel or anything, because I've got to take their files, their audio and video files, and once they give them to me, and then I got to sync them up together, and so I'm learning how to do all this. I'm trying to do all the audio in Logic, so I'm learning how to mix, and even dipping into a little bit of mastering, and with the audio. So then and then the video is done in DaVinci, and trying to put it all together. So yeah, I'm on number 5 right now, and I got number 6 planned coming up, and so that's been really fun, connecting with my old peeps from the Kansas City jazz scene, and also my locals in New York. And that was the whole point of it, I think, was to connect with my friends, and then also learn this new software, and just have some content, that I'll be proud of, down the road. So, well,
that's what I'm loving, sort of seeing from my friends, from people like you, and because and we mentioned this before with some of our other comments. We love the folk scene. I've been living in it since I was 13. I pulled Jake into it about 15 years ago, and we started the Pesky thing. But as a community, we don't generally embrace technology or change very well. And if there's anything this experience has sort of been uplifting to see, is the people like you that are all of a sudden instead of being like, oh, who needs video? Who needs this? Because let's be honest, go back a year, and the Red Mollies of the world might be able to put out occasionally a nice produced video, but it's sort of few and far between when you sort of look at it. So I've loved seeing sort of that game be upped in a lot of different places. And it's a skill set that hopefully, regardless of, vaccine comes out tomorrow, I don't think any of those skill sets go to waste.
Yeah. It's really hard to pull off when you're running around and your only time at home is done. You're doing laundry and trying to recover before the next tour. It's really hard. Mosquito. It's really hard, to do both, to be a media company and travel. So it's really nice to get this stuff down, to get a rhythm going, writing songs, recording, all of that stuff, connecting with people like Leslie. I love it. I read his comment just a minute ago. He pointed out that I forgot the words, which I do less often. I mean, more often than I want to. I don't know. And usually it's a song I wrote too, Oh gosh.
Jake and I have routinely face palmed because the cover songs we do, don't forget the words really ever. Right. Our own stuff all the time.
Right. And there's no one at a show, someone will know, or they'll bring up my songbook or something. And it's funny. I was sitting there, we were vamping. I think it was our last concert. We were vamping, and I'm like, because we changed the arrangement. We're experimenting a lot because we can actually rehearse together, which is something we never really did before.
No, we're usually too tired when we're home.
I know.
Right.
But for our last show, we really we came up with some really different arrangements, and my Patreon people are really challenging me to they're asking for things, and it's those are my people. I want to try whatever. If they suggest something and it sounds like a good challenge to me, I want to do it. So it's been pretty cool.
It's awesome.
I just want to share the Facebook likes to caption videos, so I have our video over on Facebook on the side, and it doesn't know the word vamping, I think. So you said you were vaping at the last concert, so that's going to be fun.
No. No, I don't vape. No. Thank you, Facebook. Oh, we're moving over to Twitch, I see. There's a little tape parade down there. So join us on Twitch.
Yeah.
That's where all the cool kids are hanging out.
That is where all the cool kids hang out.
I don't think we have to do anything. I don't think we have to.
No,
actually
you don't have
go
to do
anywhere.
anything. That's
Off the
That's
hook.
the joy for us. It's just me
Well,
turning
I
something
got it.
on.
Where am I? Click on the. Yep.
Yeah. So just click on over that. But if you don't follow us, I do want to. Can I put in a plug for my Patreon in case they don't come over there? So Patreon, if you don't know what it is, it's basically you're kind of investing in an artist by giving them a small amount every month, maybe like $3, $5, $10, whatever, small amount, and then the artist kind of decides what to give back, whether it's like new songs. It's usually like the creative beginnings of things, and so it's been inspiring me to really work on writing new songs and sharing them, making videos and sharing things that I might not share. So it's been really fun. So I have a bunch of people over there, and it's patreon.com/Abbie Gardner. Conveniently.
We can throw that up in a banner shortly.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I love the Patreon. I love everything about it as an idea. I know there's some artists out there that get a little gamey over the word patron. They don't like feeling like they're just, getting,
Right.
Sure you have, but I think there's something really magical about the ability to have.
Sorry, the ice cream man is here. I hope you can't hear it.
I'll go. Yeah, I was kind of like my brain. I was like, am I just hearing ice cream music in my head? That would anyway. But there is sort of the ability to start moving away from being reliant on physical CDs as your primary means of trying to interface and get something. But it at the same point, it's giving people an excuse to give you money. There are people that want to give you money, but and I think Abbie, you and I have talked about this. Like, I know when we do a show, if we're doing like a college show or a show where the majority of the people there are under the age of 40 and they're buying our CDs, I know in my head that CD is probably either A, never getting unwrapped, or B, never going in a CD player, because most people don't have CD players anymore.
Right.
So I know that for the most part, it's literally just that people want a way to interface with you. Mm-hmm. So I think Patreon is the virtualization of that in a way that's actually more healthy in the long run, because it's basically someone saying, yeah, I'm interested in you, period. And here's my $5 a month. And now you can count on that $5 a month. Like, there's just something about it that it's very rising tide. It's very, we're all in it together. And I totally love that about the notion. Which
I kind of feel like it's, for me, I didn't expect this when I first started Patreon. I was kind of pushed into it by a couple fans who were like, no, really, you need to do this. And fans that I trust. So I was like, okay. And I was kind of resistant to it. But as I started talking to Ellis Paul and Seth Clear and some of my buddies, I realized how I could make it work for me and feel comfortable. And as I've started it, it's so strange. It feels like it's legitimizing the work I put in, not the finished cake that is a CD or a show that I'm presenting and like trying to be really like, here's my thing, the best I can possibly be. It's the other stuff. It's all the ingredients. Here's my flour. Here's my, this is what I'm working on. This is what I'm thinking about working on. I'm going to try this and maybe it won't work at all. But I'm sharing that stuff with people, and to make that valuable, even if it's only $3, to make it valuable and make it my job is just changing my creativity in such a great way, because it wasn't working before. Like, just touring all the time and trying to get new songs, and while I was exhausted, it just seemed like I needed, new material all the time, and it had to be, it had to be perfect. So now
it's such
just
an interesting approach, because all these folks who line up for you to sign their CD, they want you to sign the CD because they want a piece of the artist. Like, they want that connection. They want you to say hi and shake their hand and do all those things.
Yeah.
And now, Patreon allows your fans to connect with you and have that connection and get to see the behind the scenes things, because, you're not going to invite them maybe into your home to watch you, sit at a piano or a guitar or a dobro or whatever it is and like bang out a tune. But to be able for you to share a video, and you're curating all of that, and they get to experience that. That's,
I was needing it too. I love connecting with people at shows, but I feel like one of my fans, Dottie, is down in North Carolina, and we've only met maybe once or twice, and I just like, oh man, that's not enough for me. Like, I want deeper connections. I don't want all these surface little connections. Every 2 years I see these people in Florida, and every 3 years I see these people in California. It just started to feel, I'm in my mid-40s, and it just started to feel like, wait a second, I'm not getting any closer to these people. Connection isn't there. And now these fans, I can get to know them a little bit more, and they can request songs, and I know where they're from, and we've done these little, after parties after the live streams, and they can say, oh, I really like that song, and maybe you could try this next time, and I noticed that you did a different intro in this, and whatever. Like, it's really magical to have that connection with them.
Well, what I find so fascinating about it is sort of, I think we called it sort of troubadour life when we were talking to Vance about it. Sort of the notion that you'd be quickly crossing and circling the country and maybe hitting the same general area 2, maybe 3 times in a year. So even the people that are really dedicated fans were kind of limited to those. Here are the 2 times I get to interface with this person that may be important to me. And now you've got this ability where instead of twice a year, it can be weekly. We look at Adam Ezra, who's done, I think Stu Berg pointed out earlier, he's passed 160 shows in a row every day. Since all of this started, and he averages 500 to 600 people every day. No, he makes us all look like slackers. But he averages this huge amount, and he's created, like, he had a dedicated following beforehand, but now those people are like, they jump in the front of a bullet for that guy. Like, it is solidifying these relationships in a way that's really pretty amazing. At least this is the way I see it.
Yeah.
So that being said, we're gonna drop Facebook to the folks over there that decided not to come with us. We get it. It's the way we monetize, though. We don't use Patreon. We use the fact that the ads and everything that exists over there pays us, so we don't have to ask people directly for money. And that's sort of part of a specific sort of theory that Jake and I are testing. We're trying to utilize Twitch and YouTube because they have passive monetization, which is why we do that. So I just wanted to, again, explain really quickly to folks. Apologize if they miss it, but we'll see you next week otherwise, and thanks for joining.
And this will eventually be
This is going to go to YouTube in probably about a week or so, and it will be an audio podcast as well. So if you search for Tribal Mischief Podcast in your favorite podcasting app, or you go to youtube.com/c/Tribal Mischief. Is that right, Ethan? /Tribal Mischief on YouTube? Yes. You will find us that we
/C/Tribal Mischief.
Yes, /C/Tribal Mischief about a week later. So you can find all of our archived podcasts on your podcasting app and on YouTube.
Great. That's fantastic.
And
are you getting twitchy?
I think we're on Twitch. There we go.
Wow, that was
We've
seamless.
been on Twitch.
Wow.
I didn't even know.
For us.
Do you have a Twitch? Can you fake a Twitch? Just for Twitch? That's just that's a spasm.
Oh.
Whoa!
Then
What was
no.
that?
Ethan, I think what you need to do is you need to set those overlays so like my I'm not touching the keyboard overlay like goes over me. There we go.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Look at that.
That was
Watch
that was
those
my
hands, buddy.
yeah that was my well. Ethan and I both have control over the podcast, and so there have been a couple of times.
What did you do?
There have been a couple of times when Ethan will turn something off and I'll turn it right back on again, not expecting that we're both changing something or whatever.
Yeah.
So as I understand it, you guys are both musicians. Is that right? Do you both play music?
I think so.
You do?
I own instruments.
You own instruments. Okay, that's about the
lot
best
of
I can
them.
say. I own an accordion. That's the best I can say. We haven't figured out segues yet, so this is my segue. Would you guys perhaps care to play some music for us?
Sure.
We've been known.
You've been.
Let's see if we get busted for playing our own songs.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't think we don't get claims on Twitch, do we, Ethan?
Nice.
No. So and to be honest, one of the things we'll talk about when we get back is sort of.
Yeah.
I know you've been experimenting and trying to find the best systems, and we'll sort of talk through the different systems and the pros and cons a little bit, because you and I had that conversation, and I figured that's probably might be interesting for everyone else, is sort of discovering the things that drive us insane about certain things.
Yeah.
And don't otherwise. But that's for later. Now
it's for the music. Well, we'll have to do a little presto changeo. So
all right. So we'll give you guys a
watch
couple
that or not.
Yep.
Whatever you could narrate it.
We'll let you set
We'll
it up.
narrate. There we go.
You want to narrate?
Yeah.
Jake.
You might
I
get
feel
a
like
little
Jake, if you're narrating
thud
this,
as
you
we
need to narrate it like a
mics.
PBS nature documentary.
Oh, I've been watching Brockmire lately. I was going for Hank Azaria and Brockmire, but that might be a little bit rough.
I'm going to let them do it off screen.
Yeah, that's fine.
Not give them the. But anyway, thanks for everyone that came over to Twitch.
Thank you very much.
We're really excited. This has been like an interesting couple of weeks. I think mentioned either last week or the week before. We set what I thought were relatively aggressive goals for ourselves when we started this. We basically said
modest goals.
Monetization is difficult. It's a challenge with most systems to get to the point where they'll allow you to monetize. So we did the research and we basically discovered Twitch and YouTube are the two things we wanted to eventually get there. And in my mind, my goal was with Twitch, I wanted to hit the point of being able to monetize by the end of the first season. So I gave us sort of 3 months, and we hit it within a month. I wanted to get 10 subscribers by the end of the first season, and got that 2 weeks after we got that.
You wanted to get 100 likes or 100 subscribers on YouTube.
And that thanks to again, what did you guys do? You completely. I did not expect that. You just kind of. But anyway,
I was going to share it. I saw your post and I was like, "Oh, that's a good idea. I'll share it too." Oh, we're good. Okay. I'll just leave it alone.
Yeah, it was really wonderful, and I just want to thank everyone that was part of that. So yeah, enough about that. I'm super excited for what we're going to be able to do for you guys with shows and with future stuff. But in particular, I am looking forward to us doing nothing and letting wonderful, wonderful performers like this perform for you.
Here we are. Mm-hmm. Hey, we are live. Look at that. Okay. Looks like I should move over just a little bit. Get on the screen a little. Hey guys, so we play music too. We don't just talk. Here's a little song I made up called Don't Be Afraid of Love. Hope you can hear.
This way I can still listen to them.
Oh,
Make
yeah.
fun of us.
Good. Craig's going to put his headphones on so we can tell. If something is not right, you can let us know.
By
Sounds great.
Did you hear that? He just came on screen for a second. Okay. Yeah. Does that sound all right?
Go.
You start.
Oh yeah.
I hope there was no feedback.
Good.
Sounds great. Sounds great.
Okay,
Awesome.
cool. Because we can tweak. We can
All
twitch.
right.
We can twerk.
We can't
Oh,
twerk. No.
Sorry.
No twerking here.
TMI.
We have to stay in our lane. Not that flexible.
Are you going?
Yeah. We're gonna each do one, if that's cool with you guys. I guess I'll go first. This is a little tune I wrote called "Born in the City." I wrote this with Will Kimbrough, actually, who's a fantastic songwriter and musician. He plays guitar with a little-known performer named Emmylou Harris. So, she has good taste, obviously. I feel like I should maybe turn towards you guys. Anyway, Will is a fantastic songwriter, and he's doing a ton of live streaming, so definitely check him out. Will Kimbrough with a K. We wrote this together. Back up here.
Oh my.
We're going to feature the bass on here.
It's all about that.
It's all about the bass, everybody. Ooh, this is like our first time on Twitch. Getting all twitchy. All right, Craig Aiken here. Gonna play some bass for you.
So sometimes I come up with little pieces, little nuggets of grooves or whatever. It's primarily to kind of keep my strength on the with the instrument in my hands and because it's a physical instrument and I got to stay in shape, and so I try to come up with creative things that kind of help me do that, and they're also things that are also fun to play, and so this is one of them.
That was great.
Has no name.
What do you think? Should we play one more, or are you?
Go for it.
Talk more? Yeah, one more.
Go for it.
Una Mas. It's funny how Jake just disappeared.
I think he's there. He's just hiding.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah. It looks like on Twitch there's a lot more comments.
Wow.
Is that true? Is that accurate? I don't know.
Wow.
We have trained our fans well.
They've trained their fans well. Yes.
Oh, nice. I would, you know, I'll tell you later. This isn't the talking part. Me. All right, let's do another.
Oh, that one?
Not too fast, right? Yeah. You
Let's do it.
start.
A?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
One hello, two goodbyes, it's over. No more petals on my four-leaf clover. I can't take more of this back and forth romance. Hey, he said goodbye, yes it's true. One big heart broken too.
Hey.
Where's Ginger?
Okay, we're gonna get resituated.
All right, sounds good. That was lovely. I'm gonna give you guys a second to resituate off screen, and I love Abbie and Craig. It was really great hearing them. We did find out when we went to break that one of Jake and my musical heroes is Justin Townes Earle. And, fortunately, it seems like he passed away today, which is a bit of a gut punch. It's a hell of a songwriter, hell of a player, but probably one of the meanest finger pickers I've ever seen. So that's a bummer. Jake, you are muted, my friend.
Oh, a few years ago, there I is. A few years ago, I'd won tickets to see him playing at Town Hall on Prairie Home Companion in New York City, and I called up Ethan and I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Nothing." I go, "Good." I said, "Good. We're driving to New York, and we're going to see Justin Townes Earle at Prairie Home Companion." And drove down there. Man, you remember him stepping off mic and filling that room?
And not just with his voice, but like he could make an acoustic guitar. He thrashed it.
Oh, he did. He did.
And one of the things I always found fascinating as a guitarist watching him play is it always looked like he was doing it with two fingers. Anyway.
Yeah, we'd seen him a few times. We'd seen him a few times over the years, and he was he was funny. I remember we saw him up in. Were you with me?
Tupelo, yeah.
Yeah, Tupelo. He was not having a good day that day, and a couple people. He was a little bit ornery, and a couple people walked out. He went, "Fine, I already got paid. I don't care. Leave." I remember we just looked at each other and went, "Oh, okay." He's playing his gig, but actually, on my wife and I, our first date day, we did like 3 or 4 different things that day, but we saw him at the Sinclair, and he was having a good day that day, and he absolutely crushed it. So I will pour a little bit more bourbon and drink one to Justin Townes Earle, 38 years old.
On that happy note?
Yeah. We're going to go back to the happy music that Craig and Abbie. Yeah, we were just sharing that we got some sad news.
Sorry, I didn't. Wait a second. When did that happen? Did he die?
Ethan just shared it with me.
Today?
Yeah. Oh. It was just announced a short while ago on his Facebook page.
Oh.
Yep.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
So a little bit of drink for Mr. Justin Townes Earle and his whole family.
His song about his mother's eyes.
Mama's eyes.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, we'd play it now, but we'd probably get shut down. So.
Yeah, that song just wrecks me. We saw him playing it on Keamo on the big cruise.
Oh,
okay. The dream gig that we finally got on a cruise. Now, cruises don't sound so appealing.
That's so great. Aren't there a couple ships out there that still haven't come back to port?
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, we saw him do it there, and it was telling. I'll just put it that way. Yeah.
Whew. Well, anyways, you guys crushed it.
Thank you.
On a happier note.
Thank you. It's.
I was worried. Ethan wasn't worried. But I was worried as to how it was going to go. But
that makes 3 of us.
Well, it is interesting. We keep changing things, so sometimes it's hard to keep up.
I really enjoyed seeing Craig play solo. That was fun. And,
that was great.
Wow.
It reminds me.
I need to put that on my website. Somebody enjoyed it. That's awesome. Well, thanks so much.
Yeah, I remember you guys played my hometown a couple of years ago, and or my current hometown. And it was one of those. For some reason, I'm always the last person to find out that my friends are playing, 5 miles away from where I live. Yeah. And so I ran over. I found out 20 minutes before the show was supposed to start literally jumped in the car, drove over, sat down, and Craig and your father were doing sort of a jazz opening.
Oh yeah, totally.
And that was a ton of fun. I love that.
Yeah, I love that too. I think
we do it when we can get away with it.
Yeah, it's kind of like opening house music. Even if there's an opener, we put them out like as house music as people are coming in, and it's every once in a while I'll sneak out and sing a jazz tune with them. But it's really fun. I mean, I think I first started it because I needed to get them out of the green room so I could get dressed. It's like, just go play jazz. I need a minute.
True.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
so cool.
I'm sure Craig, like any true sideman, turns down many opportunities to play.
Yeah.
Ethan laughs at me. People are like, "You want to come play?" I'm like, "Where? Can we go? We'll go. We'll go."
Yeah. Didn't you play? Jake, you sat in with me at some place in Cambridge.
Well, as a matter of fact, it was at the Burren. It was day after. It was Courtney and I, the second day of Courtney and my first date. We saw, and we'd seen Justin Townes Earle the night before, and then saw you at the Burren on Sunday, and your dad was there. I think I jumped up and played a tune with you guys.
You did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Good
many
Lord.
memories, guys.
Yes.
I love it.
So that reminds me of a story that I had to tell a bunch of years ago at the Falcon Ridge Folk Festival, which is where the four of us became friends and hung out. I remember Abbie telling me and Ethan about this guy, Craig, that she had started seeing. And we saw you two like across a field, fingers interlaced, just giddy. Like Abbie was just giddy about this guy that she'd met. And I don't think we met Craig then, but the following year, Abbie was not getting to Falcon Ridge until Friday, but she said, well, my man is going to be there. His name's Craig, and you have to find him. And I was like, how in the crap? This is a thousands of people at this festival. How in the world am I going to find this guy? But fine, I will find Craig. She's like, he's a nice guy. You'll love him. You have to introduce yourself. Okay, fine. 2:00 in the morning. We've been playing. We are outside some tent. I think it was Michael Kornfeld's tent or something like that. And I wind up next to this guy, and there's somebody playing, and this guy and I were chatting. He goes, oh, my name's Craig. I went, oh, okay, nice to meet you. I said, we established that we, sort of knew people in common. And I went, oh, you're Abbie's Craig. And he just laughed. Yeah, okay. Somehow I found Craig at Falcon Ridge. I still don't know
in
how.
the dark at 2 in the morning.
In the dark at 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
Which, if you're going to find someone at Falcon Ridge, really, is there any other way to find them at Falcon Ridge?
Yeah.
Isn't that when I met you guys?
Yes.
A few years prior, yeah.
Yep.
I love it.
Is it you, Brian, and Katie? We're about 9. I think O'Brien was with you as well. If I remember,
Really?
Chris O'Brien.
No, I think DaCosta was kicking around.
Oh, DaCosta was there, yeah.
Yeah.
For some reason,
I don't remember.
I just recall a group of visually inebriated artists sort of falling into our campsite and hanging around the campfire playing for us, which was a ball. We were loving every moment of it.
I'm not even sure that we were inebriated. See, Katie was telling me that, or I was trying to tell her a joke. We were trying to tell each other some joke about an octopus in pajamas, and we couldn't stop laughing. So we were drunk on folk music.
On octopus
Truly.
pajama jokes. But the funny part was, this was like 12 years ago. Nobody knew who the hell, Pesky J. Nixon was. Nobody met us before.
Nope.
And you guys, it was 3 a.m. and we had just decided that this song was going to be our last song. And all of a sudden, all these main stage artists walk into our camp, into the campfire, and they're like, can we play a song? Yes, please. And I remember leaning over to Ethan going, we're not going to bed until they leave.
They might steal our food.
And you
We're
all
like
played a bunch of
raccoons.
tunes, and then you looked at us and you went, okay, guys, your turn. Oh, shit. We got to play for these. Nobody knows who the hell we are. And we played, and you guys took us under your wing and introduced us around.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is the
why
reason
not?
the lounge stage exists, by the way. That night.
I love that story. It's so good because, I
So
mean, the
good.
lounge stage has just exploded into, I mean, if anyone's out there listening, I see some people commenting, but let us know if you've been to the lounge stage. And, like, everyone's had a story about the lounge stage and, like, their moment there. They remember when they heard this specific song, or they were, you know, there have been love connections. There have been the other side of things.
I remember when the wheels fell off at the lounge stage.
Yeah, right? Big storms, you know, nothing seems to keep the lounge stage down, you know. People just, it's
you
great.
know, it was us taking that experience of having people that really had no reason to either know who we were or care who we were, and go out of their way to, I mean, we went in the span of about 3 months, we went from basically only playing the local bar / egg roll cafe near our house
I'll play
to
there.
Cafe
I'll have the
Lena,
back rolls in.
to Cafe
that
Lena in Club Passy.
Yeah.
And we really attribute that night to a huge aspect of that. And you know, the lounge stage was our way of doing some give back, and it's been a joy. It's been sort of this crazy thing of over 200 artists at this point.
What's the story behind changing the name?
Which changing what?
It was they had another name in the early years.
Oh,
Right?
it was the Losers Lounge.
So that was
I think we called
the stage. The stage was always the lounge stage, but our camp.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't.
Go back to the Facebook posts, my friend. It was the Losers Lounge, or the Losers Stage, or something like that. The first year, we referred to it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. The campground that I was part of at
Whoa.
yeah. The campground that I was part of at Falcon Ridge way back was called the Losers Lounge, because it was, at the time, the people that sort of took me in there were a bunch of people that have been going for like 10 years and had been applying for the emerging artist thing for like a decade, never making it. Right. So they jokingly just started referring to the campground as the Losers Lounge.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like there's a similar thing with Kerrville, like applying and not getting in. I'm definitely part of the Losers Club in Kerrville because I only applied once, but I didn't get in. So it's nice.
Still bitter.
No, actually, I just don't care. Like, I don't know. If you enter those things, you definitely can't take it personally at all. You just have to forget. Like, enter everything and then forget. And if you find out you won, then it's like, oh, that's fun.
Hooray.
Hooray.
Right.
But it really doesn't, don't take it in too deep.
It's funny because I have friends that go through that process, and if they get really offended if they don't get the "sorry, we're not interested" email, where in my mind, I do exactly what you do, Abbie, which is the second I apply, it's out of the brain pan. I have no recollection. So the only thing I want to happen at that point is a happy surprise. I don't want the, like that. What's the fun in that?
Yeah. Hey, guess what? You lost.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
That's what we need, Ethan. We need to get my friend Tim on trombone. Just get him to like throw a banner video up here, just doing a sad trombone.
You guys are gonna be like FM radio soon. You're gonna have like laughter,
all the sound effects.
all the sound effects, explosion.
The Peanuts teacher.
We're just recording Craig doing that one. That was good.
Yeah.
He's actually wildly good at impressions.
Oh no.
What's your favorite impression that Craig does, and then he's going to have to do it on the air right now?
Neil Eckstein. No, I don't know if that can be done in this context. Because you need more room.
Oh, yeah.
But who can we do? I forget.
This is the best show ever.
I can whistle.
He's very good at whistling. That's true.
Well,
Sorry, I went off on a tangent there.
No.
Yeah, next time.
This is why we block off 2 hours for this show and have an explicit tag and can drink on the show, because you never know what's going to happen.
I feel like that was the conversational equivalent of a jam killer
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I disagree. Ethan and I both went, ooh.
Ooh, I want to see that. Oh boy.
Well, I sort of
Sorry.
secondarily related. One of the things that I've always found interesting is musicians whose significant others are also musicians and how they find a way to make that work. Because frankly, within just our community, the number of people that make sort of standard "I'm a musician, you're not a musician" relationships work in the long term. You're already talking a relatively compact percentage. And when you think of sort of musicians going through long-term relationships with other musicians, similarly, it has sort of a long-standing. There are times it works, and there are lots of times it doesn't work. And you guys have seemed to put a lot of sort of effort. You both clearly have your own careers, but you've found these really wonderful ways to start playing more together and doing more stuff, and how much energy had to sort of go into reconfiguring sort of the two independent streams so that there was a little bit more intertwined. Or am I asking a weird question?
No,
I don't know. It took a long time to try to streamline our different like backgrounds and interests and things.
where they overlap.
Yeah, trying to find ways that they overlapped. And yeah, it's just been an ongoing process really since the beginning. In a good way.
Yeah.
But you know, we definitely like things that I like things that she doesn't, and vice versa. And
That's healthy.
Well, there was that funny sort of in between moment where you were playing in Roosevelt Dime, which of course Molly's husband Evan is part of.
Yeah.
And I know at one point Laurie was joking that Ellis had to join as well, so you could have sort of a Red Rover sort of battle of the couples.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's a band family at this point.
yeah. But
we have enough of that though.
It's enough connections. We actually had a super group that we had no gigs.
We were talking about it.
We rehearsed.
It was Red Molly and Roosevelt Dime together, and it was called Conjugal Visit.
No joke. Yeah.
Yeah, we never got a gig.
We kept thinking like, all right, folk music, it's funny to us, but you know, we were thinking of the real straight-laced, guard of folkies, and we're like, oh, we'll never get away with that. We have to find a new name. And that's kind of where it disintegrated, because without that to bind us together.
I would have gone with it. I absolutely would have gone with it.
Yeah.
But
it would have been too much fun.
We each have our own.
Stu likes it. Stu would have voted for it.
Stu, nice.
we have our own things that we really like to work on and to try to accomplish, separate from each other. So we spend a lot of time doing that, just finding ways to challenge ourselves and also just kind of give us some space from one another.
What do you mean?
Yeah, because I don't know, like I like to work on things that I don't normally get to do when I'm playing songs or playing gigs.
Right.
Like I said earlier, I try to find things that'll challenge me and physically and on the instrument, but also like musically and creatively. Like, if that's a word. That I don't get in what seems like real life, which is backing up a lot of different people or bands. And so, I mean, she does that too. She works many hours a day doing her thing while I'm doing something very, very different. Or, I don't know, it just works out because I'd like to listen to a bunch of different things. So a lot of times I have headphones on around the house, so it doesn't disturb her because, she also doesn't like a lot of the things I listen to. So I just put him on headphones and get in my zone, and
Right.
try to get my fix that way. And then when we come together, we try to bring it together so that it's it's a mutual product that we both it resonates with us.
And then it elevates. I think like when we play together, the song has to be better for both of us playing. If it's not, I don't want to double a bass line. If I'm playing solo, a lot of times I'll play a bass line on dobro because I love the bass, and so I want to hear that
Clearly.
But, yeah, clearly. But if Craig is playing, I don't want to play his like down in his role. But it has been interesting to try to get like, because we don't have like a middle range thing. We don't have a strumming guitar, which is a lot easier to blend with. Just dobro and guitar are easy to blend because they're kind of dobro's a little higher end, and guitar and bass are easier to blend. But guitar and dobro sometimes is like, it can be a little bit far away from each other sonically. So figuring out how to like, if I start playing a real rhythmic part, that helps sometimes. Or if I just put the dobro down all together and just sing, that's really fun too. And that kind of frees me up and it gives me something that I don't have when I play solo.
It frees me up too.
Right.
Like harmonically speaking, melodically.
Right.
Yeah, if I'm the only instrument other than voice,
Right.
yeah, I get tons of freedom in that 3 minutes,
It can be
And
fun
that's
because
really fun.
he'll push and pull the rhythm a little bit too, and I'm like,
And I can throw in different chords,
yeah.
and
And it makes me sing different sometimes, which
Yeah.
when I'm playing dobro, I'm a little bit more locked in because I'm thinking about too much, It's a lot to coordinate. But yeah, when it's just bass and he'll throw in some little thing and then I'll just want to sing something different. So it's pretty inspiring that way. I think, we found our little niche.
We do a pretty good job, like having separate lives, musical lives, but also coming together.
Yeah.
And we do a lot together too.
We're doing a lot more playing together now because I'm the only one he can play with.
I don't know. It sounds like he's trying to find a way to virtualize playing with other people.
Other than the videos that I make and all the people that I record with.
Well, of course. But I mean, in a live sort of spontaneous.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally.
Kind of thing.
I've only had like one or two other gigs since March, with other humans.
Yeah.
Have you guys played out at all?
Yeah, we had. I had a gig in Woodbridge. Awesome guy, Bill Brandenburg, does a lot of the programming out there, and the mayor in Woodbridge, New Jersey, was just determined to have his summer concert series, which is pretty epic. Like they have a cover night, then they have a songwriter night, and they have just all this programming. And he moved it to the football field of the high school, and
Wow.
Everyone is strictly social distanced, all of that stuff, and it was really pleasant. It was really nice, and it's always a respectable crowd, and they pay the musicians a respectable amount. So that was it was lovely to be on stage again and to have a sound guy. Oh my gosh! I mean, Greg's been doing an amazing job, but it's you got to give it up for all the people. We're doing all their jobs now. We're doing lighting, and we're doing sound, and we're doing the tech. And I've always appreciated those people, but now they can't really do their jobs. They can't just get on and live stream sound.
No.
And venues, and I just, my heart goes out to the people that can't just adapt necessarily.
It's really one of those. I'm a my degree's in sound engineering. Jake, I know, has done sound. So I am used to having a very distinct opinion on stage. It's kind of who I am. That being said, I don't want to be the one running my own sound when I'm on stage. Like that shouldn't be my job. My job should be connecting, and my job should be making sure that what I'm doing is right.
Right.
I remember playing the bar gigs, and I'm sure you guys have had those gigs as well, where you dreamed of one day having a sound person who would take care of these things for you. And now we're stuck in our homes and we're all looking at our, USB interfaces and our microphones going, crap, I had to wire this thing and run all the sound and see if it's loud enough for everybody else.
Right. Yeah.
And I had to learn all the difference between all the USB cables that are available. Oh my God, there's like a dozen or something. USB-C, 3.
Thunderbolt really throws it all for
Thunderbolt. 1, 2, 3. It's
enough.
nuts. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it's a fun and interesting. Like, I don't know. I'm. What's the "May you live in interesting times"? Is that the old proverb? And we're definitely.
They say that's a Chinese curse, or that's how I've heard it. I don't know if that's true or not.
But we're definitely doing it, and I'm glad because I get to watch you guys, and you seem to be making the most of it. And it's always nice when you see friends sort of being able to do that, because this has been a really rough time for a lot of people, and I don't hold it against the folks that have basically tapped out and said I'm not comfortable with this new thing. Like I get it, I do.
Totally.
But it also just makes me that much more thankful to see the friends that sort of step into that particular opportunity and do something fun. So
that's pretty much why we did this podcast, was just as an excuse to hang out with friends and get them, trick them into playing music for us and a bunch of other people. So we appreciate you guys falling for it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We fell hard.
I mean, you guys are the same way. I've seen you over the years just say, oh, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we? Okay, let's do this. Why not? Why wouldn't we? And just
that's really how this podcast started. I think we started the podcast. Ethan had this in his head for a long time, and kudos to him for that. I stumbled on this software a couple of months ago, 3 months ago, accidentally showed it to him, and I went, well, we can just go live and then drop it to audio and then send it as a podcast. Wouldn't that work? And we both went, okay. And a week later, we had our first podcast, and that's pretty much how it came together. And we luckily have enough incredibly talented friends who were willing to get sucked into this thing and come hang out with us for a couple hours.
Well, there's a magnetism of when you jump into something before you're ready, and you just go for it, and you are willing to try and see what happens, and trust that people will forgive you if you stumble. And we have stumbled quite a lot, but that's how you learn. So I think it's magical. What you guys
it's endearing, doing. Right? Is that what they say? It's endearing. I don't know. I'm
gonna completely biff the saying, but there's some sort of cliche that all great art is a really good plan that goes horribly awry, and like that's you create something new as you try to figure out how. Like that's where, at least for me, that's where I find a lot of the things that I'm really proud of come from sort of allowing myself to struggle, to learn, to do, to get something done. And, I'm thankful that I've got people like you guys in my life, and this where is he? No.
Backwards.
My camera's backward. Yeah, the camera, that guy. And that guy that's put up with me for like 14 years as we played with stuff. So, any projects that you guys are currently working on that we can plug? Abbie, you did mention your Patreon.
Yes.
So let's make sure we...
My Patreon is where I am trying things, and I'm making mistakes, and I am human. So it's been really great. I love my Patreon, my people, my patrons, I call them. And it's not a huge investment to get on there. So I think my lowest level is $3 a month, and you get a free, that includes like a private concert for just my patrons. And I go into more of like behind the songs, ask a lot more questions, and try to get to know everybody. And it's really just more connection. And I try to send every Friday I post a video there that's half the time it's just for the patrons. I'll never share it on YouTube. Mm-hmm. It's exclusive. I also have some bootleg recordings that I'm putting on Patreon, so they can have those. And it's not stuff that I would I was considering putting out this Rockwood recording I have for my last gig at Rockwood in January. But I don't know. I wanted to put it out, but I wasn't ready to put it out on like Spotify and all that. Like it's got some human elements in it, and I wasn't ready for the whole world to see that. But my patrons are the ones that are really, they want to see all the bootlegs and all the different versions of things and how it grows and how I try something and I'm like all excited and then I just drop it because it's not right or whatever, So that's.
Well, that I've always thought to some degree that's what makes the difference between a folk audience and like a rock audience. Like the folk audience wants so very badly to be there when you forget the words and wants to have that story and wants to have, it's the humanization of the artist is so intrinsic, I think, to sort of this community as a whole. And, not that it doesn't exist in other places, but, it's very much at the heart of, I think, the root scene.
Yeah. Well, we're doing that. The next Patreon private show is on September 12th. I do one every month. And then I do, Craig and I both together do a concert on September 19th. So that's always the third Saturday in every month at 3:00. I like threes. I was born on March 3rd, so it's all about the three to me. So that's when you can catch us together. And my patrons are the ones inspiring me to do different things at the Facebook Live concert. So it's really fun to kind of do all that stuff. And then I throw it up on YouTube as a archive.
So you're streaming them on Facebook. Folks can find them at Facebook. That
is on facebook.com/Abbie Gardner Music, I believe. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
Sounds right.
He's the one that knows things.
Craig, anything for you?
I do. I get to record a lot from home these days, and I've
heard some of the stuff that you were doing that you did with Neil, and I know you helped Genevieve with at least one of her recordings.
Yeah, so I get contacted by people from all over the world through this cool global website called AirGigs. airgigs.com. So what it is it's just this database of people who can record from home, and they can be hired by anybody else who they can be hired by musicians that are working on their own project, and they need to hire out players to play certain parts or instruments. So yeah, they find me on there as a bass player, upright and electric, and so then they reach out to me with their project. Sometimes it's one song, sometimes two or three, and sometimes more, or one at a time, for a number of months. And so it's really cool. And they just send me their WAV files, and with a few instructions, maybe the sample rate and the bit rate, and do your thing on it. Or sometimes they have sheet music, which is really great. Yeah. So I don't have to figure out anything and just read the music or whatever, So I get to do a lot of that.
Yes.
Using Logic, and then there's another platform called Sound Better, one word. So it's a similar concept. So I just joined it, but mostly I've been working on AirGigs. Or people can find me on my website, craigakin.com. If there's something that I can help them with as far as recording on their project. And so, I get to do a lot of that, and I love that, to be able to do that from home and work on my technical skills and all that.
There was one album he was doing recently for a songwriter that I know, and when it was over, he was just like, "Oh man, I love spending time with those songs." It's really nice to see. Craig does all kinds of music, but sometimes he gets kind of attached to the music, and then he's like, "Oh, I don't want it to be over."
Sometimes I don't want it to be over, especially with the recording sessions that are on site in a studio with my guys or whatever. I usually don't want those to end. It's just like I kind of move in for a day or 2 or 3, you know, and then make it my home. And that's my favorite thing to do is track and records. And,
Well, isn't that how the three of us wound up recording? Because Abbie and I had co-written this song, and I was going to, speaking of Neil Eckstein, was going there just to lay it down, just for fun. And you guys happened to be there, like, or you were going to play. I think Abbie was going to be somewhere else, or one of you was going to be somewhere else, and we finagled it so you happened to be there. And it was like, okay, and you were just going to, then you lived there for a couple of days, and you laid that track down.
I still want to hear our stuff, man.
Did I not send it to you? I'm sorry.
I don't even know where.
Or maybe I gave it to Abbie and Abbie didn't give it to you. I don't know.
That's always possible.
I'll
throwing Abbie under the bus.
I don't know.
It could totally be true. I mean, that's something I would do.
I don't think Abbie was offended. I don't know.
No.
I'll send
that
it.
night, I was going to go to bed. I told you when I got there, I was like, look, man, I'm tired. I'm going to go to bed. Blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
No, it didn't happen.
No.
I'm still up in the middle of the night singing harmonies.
Singing harmonies.
Dang you.
That was
My
crazy.
voice sounds best at 3 a.m.
I'm a bass. That's when the basses come out. I don't know how that works for you, but
in our house, the basses are always out.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Too many.
Yes.
I'm actually selling some. If you know somebody that wants an upright, I've got 3 for sale.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm not kidding.
Yeah, they got to start paying rent if they stay here. So they're being evicted.
They are roughly the size of a full torso, are they not?
Oh,
torso of Andre the Giant. Maybe.
More than a torso, like a whole body.
They're canoes.
Fair enough.
We have 7 canoes in the house.
We have pictures of like us in one. At one point, the top was off of one, and we were taking all these kooky pictures of us sheltering in base.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh God.
Oh,
for real.
God. Yeah.
Too many jokes.
I know.
Dear.
It's really bad.
Abigail has classes.
Really? Oh, right. Yes. I'm going to be teaching a couple. I taught a couple of classes right when everything got locked down. I just like went into power mode of like, this is a great time to write songs. I'm going to teach everyone. So I did a Zoom class, and then I did another Zoom class shortly after. First on like lyric writing, and then focused on melody writing. And both of those classes were super fun, and people got songs out of them that are already going in recordings, which I'm like, next time I need to do the work too, because I want more songs.
Well, that's I'm you know, I can't really complain about it because I feel like I've lost the smallest amount out of anyone from this, but I was really looking forward to that place that we have in Maine. We did sort of a proof of concept songwriting workshop up there a couple of years ago with our friends Susan Catania and Jesse Terry.
Yeah. And
you and I had talked about doing one, and we were finally at the point we were rebuilding a lot of the outside structure and just making sure it was really a good place for it. And it's like, no, it's not happening this year. It's definitely getting 10 people living in a small cabin is probably not the right time. Probably not the right time.
Not a good time. But yeah, in October, I'm going to do at least one class, maybe 2.
Nice.
I think September is going to be a little rocky for some folks, so we're going to wait till October. Then people can just go to my website to get more
What's
info
that website?
on that. And it is abbiegardner.com. And at this point, it really would just be sending me an email through the website that says, put me on the list for the songwriting group, and then I'll send out a blast when it's scheduled. And I tend to send it out to the people that have taken the class or have tried to get in. They both sold out really fast. So I'm trying to... Ginger really has some stuff to say. Hi, buddy. Hello. Yeah, are you bored?
It's all good. The first 3 podcasts, Lou would, about halfway through the podcast, he would climb under the table and they'd just start whining, and then I had the headphones in so I couldn't hear.
Yeah.
And Jake would be like, the dog. the dog. And if you go back and you listen to those first couple podcasts, just like about half hour, and you'll just hear
this super high pitched like whistle of a whine.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're buying Ethan a high pass filter.
Yeah.
A dog filter.
He doesn't really bark, but he certainly cries.
Aww, he's a nice bear.
Well,
all right.
All that being said, thank you guys. I feel like
So much.
I feel like we're making up for the fact that normally I get to spend time with you at Falcon Ridge and at various festival-y type places, and this is as good as I think we can do given the circumstances.
That's what we can hope for right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks so much for inviting us.
Was this the show or was this the rehearsal? Are we going to record after this?
And we're live in 3. No.
That was it?
That was it.
It went by so
That was
fast.
it.
I didn't get to do any of my prepared material.
To paraphrase Car Talk, you've wasted a perfectly good 2 hours.
Oh my gosh! Click and clap.
Well, that's it's that funny thing that and whenever we reach out to people, we talk to them about the podcast where they're like, oh, so like 45 minutes an hour, and we're like, no, it's usually about 2 hours, and every reaction is like, what would you possibly talk about for 2 hours? I'm like, I think we had one podcast that was like an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But
I'm shocked. I was
And there's always a period-
to ask Craig. I was like, yeah, the only thing is it's 2 hours, but you can get up anytime.
Oh, I haven't even wanted to get up.
I know.
Yes, you have.
Well, I said, can we play some tunes?
Right.
That would,
Yeah.
That's kind of more what I do
that's-
than like
More
talk. So
Well,
I'm glad.
it's funny. There's always a period. There's somewhere around like 45 minutes where we get there, and I'm like, I don't know how we're gonna make it for an hour and 40. And then like maybe it's the whiskey and the whatever Craig's drinking over there. I don't think Abbie's drinking with us tonight, but the rest of us, maybe it's whatever we're drinking kicks in. But it kind of takes off, and we knew it was gonna take off with you guys.
Wow, good conversation, good friends.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
there's something
I miss you guys.
about we miss you too. We miss.
Yeah.
It's funny, and we've had this discussion a couple times before about like the oddity of traveling musicians, and when Jake and I were in our prime, meaning when we were touring at sort of the peak of Pesky, we were on the road probably 3 weekends out of every 2 months. Mm-hmm. And in our heads, we're like, this is great. We're going to be playing in Jersey. We can call Abbie, or, we're going to be playing here.
Yeah.
And the thing that you don't realize till you're finally in that position is like, yeah, we're in Jersey and we can call Abbie, but Abbie's going to be like, yeah, we're in Boston. It's like,
Right.
Not there.
But once in a while, you'll go to the rest stop
Stop at the same rest area.
and you'll be like, who is that huge man? I think I know him.
And
He's very
Ethan
tall.
will look across the parking
looks
lot
friendly.
and he'll see his bandmate Jake, who has recognized Abbie and gone over to give her a great big hug. And Ethan will wonder, what the crap is Jake doing
Hugging
in a
some
parking
random
lot
girl.
on the Mass Turnpike? And I've discovered
I can tell.
the red Molly. What was it? Red Molly. You guys had like a red Honda Fit or something like that.
Yaris.
The Yaris.
No,
There you
it's
go.
it's
Yaris.
a Matrix. Toyota
Matrix.
Matrix.
Oh, Matrix.
We still have
Still
it.
have it.
Do you,
I mean, it
do you
doesn't
still have the
start
magnet thing
right
that goes
now.
on the side? Didn't you have
We
the
have
red
the
magnet?
magnets.
We have
do?
them. They're in the vault right now. I'm waiting for like the perfect moment to have some really ridiculous auction.
Oh, there you
Sell
go.
off some really weird stuff, like the last copy of the Naked Folk calendar and the Red Molly magnets and the outtakes from the Naked Folk calendar. No, I'm not going to
There
sell
you go.
those.
I'll buy it.
Marilyn has sworn me to. I haven't even shown him the outtakes to that.
I think that there should be like, given that the Naked Folk calendar doesn't happen anymore, I think that at the least we should plan on trying to do one every 20 years, except with the same people.
Oh wow!
I think that's.
I don't think Jane would be into that.
Jane would totally be into that.
Jane would, yeah,
Oh my god!
She would be there in a heartbeat.
in a heartbeat. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
that
I
Matrix
don't-
is- How many masses do you have?
I love that I just looked over at this screen and I got this from Craig.
Not 20 years.
No.
Jake, do you guys remember for a long time the Avalon Folk Festival was always at the Northeast Regional Folk Alliance?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted so
right
very
now,
badly.
That's what we're doing.
I was offended. They never wanted us. I don't know. What the heck?
I wanted to play that so bad. So for the folks that don't know, the Avalon Folk Festival, West Virginia, I think.
Something like that.
It was a folk festival in a nudist resort.
Yeah.
It was a clothing optional folk festival. Yeah.
And it was.
Don't spit on the couch. I mean,
Can you repeat that?
Yes, it was a folk festival in a nudist colony, and I wanted to play it so bad, just because the stories that would come out of it, like that would be part of the gig for a decade.
That would be gig banter forever.
I know.
Absolutely.
Making fun of us. Just forgetting, this is not even anybody else. This is making fun of us for the next 20 years.
Oh, yeah. And think about, like, you could make a live record there. You'd just be like, yo, look, beautiful. I'm just picturing you naked. Amazing.
A DVD.
Like the patter that you would have between songs. Like,
oh, my God. It'd be amazing.
This one's for you, man. And just like, the song title. You'd have to pick out your set list to just make it all relevant.
All of the dancing, all of the high energy, like bouncing around songs.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think of that either. Yeah, I was just thinking of song titles that were just like,
"I've Got You Under My Skin."
Oh, that's good.
Whoa!
I can't think of a single one right now, but
well, folks, with that,
are we?
She's got legs. Yeah.
And I see where they attached everything else.
It's only 2 hours. We can go for 3 hours. Come on. There's like 3 people watching us.
Well, what we can do is we can have you back. And would love to. We love the opportunity. Yeah. What was that, Craig? Was that the oh God no?
No, that's very sweet of you to offer.
Ethan, can you get a screenshot? See, that's the thing.
I will get a
video. We can get a screenshot. That's the next emoji. Is Craig's like wide-eyed? Oh God! Oh God!
So I should explain. We were throwing these things up earlier.
Oh my God! Yeah.
That's Vance, by the way. In case you didn't know, that was the first. Show the first one.
Yeah.
That's Vance. Oh, I'm sorry. It says Vance.
I don't recognize the face, but the fact that he's got the name there, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So one of the weird things that Twitch is set up to do as this sort of video game centered platform is people that subscribe to your channel. Yeah. People that subscribe to your channel, you can create custom emotes that they can use in channel. Like they can toss up the custom emotes. So like, for the people that are subscribers, if someone says something crazy and, the response is, oh, we're leaving, then, you can basically toss up the emojis and all of a sudden you've got.
Oh, okay. That's a
so it's this goofy little thing, but in the weird world of Twitch, it's like a huge thing and people care about it. So I tried to figure out how to make it work. So I just started taking whatever weird facial expressions and or odd things that we did. I just try to find a screen cap of it.
Nice.
So like, for me, since we do generally a cocktail or a drink every show, I made a ridiculously fancy Mai Tai one week.
Nice.
And I kept, whenever Jake started asking a serious question, I would very slyly pull it up with like its giant bent straw and be like,
straw.
And Jake would lose it every time. And I had a ball doing it.
Nice. You can get a lot of facial expressions out of this one. He's quite.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whatever.
The joy is your facial expression when she said that was one.
2 hours and 6 minutes. Mark that one. We'll come back to this in the video. All right. We should probably wrap
really
this
have
up.
To leave, huh?
We should.
Well, you guys go hang out backstage, and then we'll come hang out backstage with you after we wrap the show up. Craig is angling for an emoji. He's begging for an emoji. For those of you in like audio land, Craig is just making the best faces right now.
Has that always been there?
All right. Craig Aiken, Abbie Gardner, everybody. Oh my Lord, Abbie and Mr. Abbie.
They are two of the most wonderful people, and you know, this is a great community full of really wonderful people. Abbie has been just a dear friend to us since we met her. I like to think that part of it was because of the music that we made, though I suspect a good amount had to do with our campsite having an immense amount of bacon.
It was the bacon and the chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah, basically,
yeah,
bacon and chocolate chip cookies. But I'll take it. For the people that know me, clearly, I am more than happy to win you over via cooking. That's kind of the backbone of who I am. So I'm glad it created a decade-long relationship. That's how long it's been, Abbie. We've been friends for a decade. Our friendship's old. But thank you guys.
Thanks for hanging out tonight.
Listening. I don't think we've got any more announcement stuff.
No, I don't think so. We've got merch on our Twitch page, twitch.tv/Tribal Mischief. You can catch us there every Sunday at 8 p.m. Next week is our final show of the season before we take a break. You can check us out on facebook.com/Tribal Mischief Productions. And you can check out our archive podcasts on youtube.com/C/Tribal Mischief.
And just because we have it, we may as well throw up that with next week it's going to be Heather May and Chris Matthews, two wonderful artists who just finished a Pride Month tour and a whole lot of other six feet apart tour. They've been really fantastic. We're so much looking forward to having them together. They're just wonderful, wonderful people, artists, everything. So we're jazzed about that.
Very much so.
He's Jake Bush.
Damn it. He's Ethan Baird.
Thank you guys so much for listening. We will see you next week.
See you next week.